Hello out there in YouTube land. Alright, two things right off the top. One, forgive the glare. It's getting to be the time of year where the sun is coming in through my window at odd times, which I can't control. The only way I can do that is to record at different times, and I really don't feel like doing it at a different time. Two, my hair. I could control that, but I'm lazy today, so what you gonna do? Alright, now let's get into the meat of the video. How many of you have memories of when you were a kid going and seeing certain movies or shows or whatever that you think at the time is just an absolutely fantastic movie? You loved it. It was awesome. It was incredible. And then you revisit it at a certain time in the future and you realize you're an idiot. Or maybe your taste has evolved over the time. Or both. Alright. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Back in the day, my mother would go shopping on Saturdays to pick up the groceries for the week. Every once in a while, my father would take me and my older brother to see movies, old movies, or whatever, at the local theaters. I mean, he took me to see When Worlds Collide, War of the Worlds, the more modern version, not the Tom Cruise one. Don't even get me started on the Tom Cruise ones. And all these other movies, which is one of the reasons I'm a huge sci-fi / horror nerd these days. Part of the blame is on my father. And one of the movies he took me to see back in the time was Laserblast. Now, as a child, that movie to me was freaking awesome. It was incredible. I loved it. It was just, oh yeah, this is cool. Fast forward to about 10 years ago, when I'm living in LA for a little bit, and I stopped by a Suncoast video, and I'm flipping through the bargain bin, and what did I see? Laserblast. I think it was like $5.99 or $9.99 for the DVD. Boom! I took that thing and I said, no, we're getting this. I have watched it a couple times since then rewatched it again today. Now, I have to tell you that little me back in the day, my standards for a good movie sucked. I had horrible taste back then. The first movie that I remember thinking that was a really great movie then, that I think is a really great movie now, Star Wars. And maybe the older War of the Worlds movies. But like I said, let's not get into those. But Laserblast. This is it right here. This is the version that I have with the cover, which is different than the thumbnail I have up here. I watched that and I was just sitting there thinking, what the hell was I thinking enjoying that movie, and what the hell were the people who made that movie thinking when they made that movie? Alright, let me break this down for you. The movie starts out with some random dude in the desert. What desert? Who knows? It's an American desert, just, for the sake of the movie, I guess. And he's got this huge gun on his arm and a little like thing around his neck that looks like a bike lock, one of the older bike locks. And you have this spaceship that comes along and says, "Hey, guess what? Yeah, we're gonna kill him because he's got a gun." Kills him, disintegrates him, and then leaves the gun and the weird necklace thing lying in the desert, and they take off. They're kind of like lizards. I don't know if if you follow some of the aliens that are supposed to visit Earth, they use the lizard type guys. In the movie, there's stop motion and yada yada yada. Anyway, so they take off. We're going to jump forward to a guy who is this is obviously in the 70s, because you can tell by the hair with the feathered hair and vans and the way they talk and all the other different cars. But this is an entirely 70s movie. And it comes out after 77 because they mentioned Star Wars a few times. So I'm assuming this is 78, 79, something like that. Anyway, so you have a stereotypical, a 70s teenager who was played by someone who's in his late 20s, who is an absolute and total wimp, right? Still living with his mom, because one of the first things you see is he's going outside, and his mom is leaving because she was invited to some island overseas, and she's, "I've got to go," and he's upset that she's leaving. And the guy's old enough to drive because he has a van, but he's still living with his mom. So goes off on the way to meet his girlfriend. You find out that there are two separate sets of bullies that bug this guy. One is a bully who's supposed to be his age, another high schooler or just out of high school guy who's got a really nerd sidekick. All bullies have nerd sidekicks. And then you also have a sheriff's deputy who has a deputy sidekick who is a nerd. All bullies have nerd sidekicks. And a little later, he goes back out to the desert and finds the gun and the bike lock necklace, figures out how it works. And for some reason, this thing, one, turns him into a Mr. Hyde type thing, where he doesn't remember what happens when he uses it. He figures out that he needs to put the necklace on in order for it to work, and he gets his face changed into some weird green semi-Hulk looking thing with sharp teeth. Gets the gun on his arm and he starts shooting people. No rhyme and reason. The first time you see him shoot somebody, he shoots the car of the teenage bullies. A little later, it's a doctor who helped him remove this thing that's growing on his chest because of the thing attached to his chest. And then later, it's just him going absolutely ape shit and shooting everything. The thing is, this movie makes absolutely no sense, because this is supposed to be an advanced alien race who just can create a weapon like that, has space flight that can go from planet to planet. They are coming back for a weapon that they lost, leave it there, and then come back for him later because they realized, oh, damn it, we lost it. and you don't understand what they're saying, which actually I thought that part was kind of cool because you can figure out what they're saying despite not understanding what they're saying. But the whole reason with the gun, just turning these people into this mindless monster that just goes around shooting people, it doesn't make any sense. And every time he fired it at something like a car or a building or something, it reacts differently. One car blows up right away, another car catches on fire, and then it seems like the gas tank catches on fire, and then it blows up. Buildings will just blow up in these spectacular balls of fire. That makes no sense. And if this is a weapon and you put it on, why does it change this person into a mindless creature that doesn't remember what happens the next day? And that can't speak and just kind of walks around like some sort of stereotypical chimp. And of course, finally, the creatures come back, get it, kill the guy, and don't take the gun again because it disappears this time when they shoot it. Don't get me wrong, this was one of those movies that you can just sit back, turn your mind off, watch the movie, and think, yeah, this is kind of fun. But once the movie's over, you're like, okay, why is this happening? But if you're stuck inside, like a lot of people have been recently, you like sci-fi movies, you like mindless entertainment, this movie right here is one of the ones that you should watch. It is fun. This is the original sci-fi classic right here. Let me just read you what they say on the back here, so that might give a more concise synopsis of the movie than possibly what I've been rambling on about. Billy was a kid who got pushed around. Then he found the power. Billy's never been able to fit in anywhere he lives. Suddenly, that's not a problem anymore. A desert exploration leads to an explosive discovery for Billy. His own personal laser gun. Each time Billy fires the laser, he begins to mutate, little by little, into an alien, possessed by the new power in his hands. Billy terrorizes the town with the awesome alien device. Now it's a race against time before the aliens return to claim the weapon and his life. Yeah, it's also a race to see if you can watch the movie all the way through without turning it off. The only reason I watched that all the way through was due to memories. You know, I loved it as a kid. I still love it now just because it's one of those movies that are so damn bad that they might possibly at one point be good again. But, yeah. I'm going to give this movie, just for sentimentality reasons, not through any aesthetic or real reasons, or because of the fact that the movie is good. I'm going to give it a 3.0 out of 5, just because of all the memories that I have of it and the enjoyment I got watching it over again, going, what the hell? So, if you understand, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. One of those movies that are just like it should be a 0.5 or a 1.0. You're getting a 3 just because, reasons. That's this movie right here. So try and find it. I don't know what platforms it's on, if any. And if it's not, once you're let out of the house, try and find it. Order it. Watch it. If you're feeling a little masochistic. And then at some point, let me know what you think of it. Talk to you a little later. Enjoy your movies.